Welcome aboard. Today we'll be sharing some lesser known but mind-blowing facts about everything related to air travel. We'll uncover the truth behind bad airline food and reveal how choosing the safest seat could save your life. Here are some of the most unbelievable flight secrets that airlines keep hidden from passengers. Before we board the aircraft, let's talk about boarding, which is one of the most stressful parts of the air travel. We have all experienced the hassles of going through airport security and finally making it to the gate, only to be met with a long queue of passengers waiting to board the flight. However, rushing to join the queue is not always necessary, as most airlines pre-assign specific seats to passengers. Even if some airlines prefer to board passengers in groups, it is not mandatory to adhere to this rule. Boarding last is the simplest way to minimize the time spent stuck on the aircraft. If your carry-on bag is not too big to fit in the overhead storage, there is no point in waiting in line to board and find a seat because your assigned seat is already reserved for you. Boarding last can also speed up the process by reducing the number of people in the gate area and jet bridge. While waiting, it's worth taking a look at your boarding pass, which usually contains a 6-digit alphanumeric code called a passenger name record. This code is used to identify passengers and can reveal personal information such as your date of birth and contact details. Therefore, it's important not to throw your boarding pass in a public trash can, as the code is recorded in a database that also stores credit card information, passport details, and IP addresses for online bookings. However, the next code you may find in your boarding pass is even more concerning. The passengers who are assigned the code 4S on their boarding pass may be subject to additional security checks. This code stands for Secondary Security Screening Selection and is added by airlines to be boarding passes of passengers who they deem to be suspicious. Airport security takes their job seriously, and things that may appear innocent to passengers could appear suspicious to officials, such as last-minute bookings, one-way fares, or cash payments. If you happen to see this code in your boarding pass, try not to worry too much, especially if you have nothing to hide. Despite their size, airplanes still encounter problems in the air, often due to other things that exist in the sky. It may be surprising to know that an average commercial aircraft of average size has a maximum takeoff weight of around 175 pounds, which includes 90,000 pounds of fuel and 45,000 pounds of passengers, crew, and cargo. It is common knowledge that when planes collide with birds, it usually results in harm to the bird, but it can also cause damage to the aircraft when the collision occurs at high speeds. The 2015 collision of a Turkish airline plane with a bird serves as an example. Fortunately, all passengers were unharmed, but the bird did not survive. Annually, there are over 13,000 bird strikes on airplanes in the US, some of which are severe enough to cause damage to the engines. Unfortunately, walls and fences are not sufficient to keep birds away from airport runways, so airports have to come up with innovative ways to prevent bird-related accidents. To prevent bird strikes at airports, various methods are used, such as firing blanks out of cannons at Virginia's Reagan National Airport, filling in ponds and replacing grass with gravel, using pigs to eat gull eggs at Salt Lake City's airport, and lighting up LED screen with big pairs of googly eyes at Lourdes Tarbes Pyrenees Airport in France. However, extreme weather conditions such as hailstorm pose a significant risk to airplanes and can cause extensive damage. For instance, a jet nose cone was severely damaged by golf ball-sized hailstones, which shatters the windows and forced the pilots to land the plane almost blindly. Despite the damage, no injuries were reported. In addition to the cost of repairs, some anxious passengers are concerned about the possibility of lightning strikes an airplane. While this may seem improbable, statistics shows that each plane in the commercial US fleet is lightly struck by lightning at least once per year. However, before being put into service, Aircraft undergo lightning strike simulations to test their conductivity, which ensures that lightning can't flow across the plane's exteriors and back into the sky without harming those inside. As for airplane toilets, they are not allowed to be emptied into the sky, although accidents can occur. Instead, when the toilet is flush, a small amount of water is used to create strong suction that pulls the waste into a large holding tank filled with disinfectant. The mixture of human waste and blue liquid disinfectant is sucked into a tanker and dumped at the end of a flight. However, in 2017, a frozen chunk made up of this cocktail was found at the ground level, which had fallen from a plane. This chunk of pulverized Smurf is one of at least 27 documented incidents of blue ice meteors falling in the United States between 1979 and 2003. These incidents include blue ice falling through rooftops under airport landing pads. There is no mechanism for pilots or flight attendants to perform such blue poopy pranks intentionally, leaks sometimes occur from the plane's septic tank. Therefore, if you ever find a big chunk of blue ice in your backyard, it's not blueberry popsicle and you should not try to lick it. Moving on to mile-high restrooms. It may surprise you to learn that there is a secret way to unlock an airplane toilet from the outside. In case a child gets locked inside an airplane bathroom or you want to get thrown off a plane for being creepy with a stranger, you can easily unlock the door from the outside using just one finger. The exterior lock of most cabin bathrooms are located behind a metal lavatory sign like the one shown for flight attendants to use in case of an emergency. As for airplane food, it has a reputation for being notoriously bad, but have you ever wondered why? In reality, most in-flight meals are prepared on the ground by industrial catering facilities located close to the airport, and they are typically made between 12 and 72 hours before the flight. Contrary to popular belief, the meals are not usually frozen but rather blast chilled and transported to the aircraft for flight attendants to heat and serve on board. Some luxury airlines have their own in-flight chefs and kitchens, but no matter what, airplane food will never quite match up to the quality of five-star restaurants on the ground. To understand why airplane food has a bad taste, we have to look at the basic human biology. Airplane cabins have incredibly low humidity levels, sometimes even lower than the Sahara Desert. This extreme dryness dehydrates our sinuses and affects our ability to taste and smell. After spending time in an airplane cabin, our sense of taste is significantly reduced, with sweet flavors dropping by 15 to 20% and salty flavors being dulled by as much as 20 to 30%. To compensate for this, some airlines add excessive amounts of salt and sugar to their food. To combat tasteless in-flight meals, wearing noise-canceling headphones may be the solution. Research has shown that loud background noise can dull our ability to taste food, and the headphones can drown out the airplane's engine noise, making food and drink taste better. However, passengers aren't the only ones who face challenges with airplane food. Pilots and co-pilots are advised not to consume the same meals while working to prevent mutual food poisoning, which is why there are specific rules about what they can and cannot eat while on the job. To prevent any unpleasantness and ensure safety, airlines have come up with a unique way of handling pilot relationships. In the aviation industry, flying with someone you dislike is regarded as a matter of life and death due to the high stakes involved in the job. Therefore, captains and first and second officers are given a do not pair list, which they use to identify co-workers they don't want to share a flight with. These requests are submitted via a monthly schedule, and the approved list is entered into the airline scheduling system, which ensures that two antagonistic pilots never ends up in the same cockpit. With the responsibility of ensuring hundreds of passengers, safety being an airline pilot is regarded as one of the most stressful jobs globally, and avoiding unnecessary stress is a priority. If you've ever been seated by the window on a flight, you may have noticed a small hole at the bottom of the window. Though it may appear insignificant, this tiny hole is in fact one of the most important safety features of an aircraft. But why is it so crucial? When flying at high altitudes, air pressure drops significantly, and airplanes are designed to regulate cabin pressure at a safe and breathable level. This significant difference in air pressure places a great deal of physical stress on the windows, which must be constructed to withstand it. Whereas a typical single-pane window would shatter easily at this altitude, airplane windows are made up of 3 layers of durable acrylic material. The outermost layer is responsible for keeping out the elements and maintaining cabin pressure. If this pane were to become damaged, the second layer serves as a backup. The innermost layer is located inside the cabin and serves as a final layer of defense, while also preventing passengers from damaging the other layers accidentally. The small hole in the middle layer, known as the bleed hole, is crucial to maintaining equal air pressure between the middle and outer panes. The sound of the chime is familiar to most frequent flyers. Although commonly used to signal passengers to return to their seats and buckle up, it can convey various messages depending on the airline's specific protocol. While certain chimes may indicate turbulence, others could simply signal the pilot's desire for coffee. One chime could be a warning of imminent turbulence, while 2 consecutive chimes signal that the plane is approaching 10,000 feet. 3 or more chimes, however, might indicate a more severe issue, such as seriously ill passenger or extreme turbulence. So next time you're on a flight, pay attention to the chimes, and if they sound like the rude sandstorm, it may be time to either dance or panic. Flying economy can be a grueling experience with class disparities, crying infants, tight seats, and little legroom. On the other hand, with private seating, unlimited champagne, and chocolate-covered strawberries, it's no wonder that many people dream of experiencing first-class air travel. Is the exorbitant price of first-class tickets worth it for the luxurious service they offer? Many features that were previously thought to be exclusive to first-class cabins are now readily available in business class sections. Both cabins typically offer high-quality multi-course meals, plush pillows, blankets, and sometimes even complimentary pajamas. Some airlines are even investing in maximizing their business class service with a view to phasing out first-class cabins entirely. The only noticeable differences between the two are that first class usually offers a slightly larger seat and private suite, as well as a few extra items on the menu like champagne and whiskey. However, the enormous difference in price does not reflect the minimal difference in service. The cost of a business class ticket is typically twice that of an economy seat, while a first class ticket can cost up to 6 times as much. Personally, I'd rather save my money and splurge on a fancy hotel room at my destination. What about you? Give a thumbs up for the first class or hit subscribe for a luxurious hotel, or treat yourself to both since you're on a vacation. For passengers on long-haul flights, it's not uncommon to struggle while staying alert and energized. However, have you ever wondered how flight attendants manage to stay so lively throughout the flight? Look out for a discreet door in the plane that resembles a storage cupboard. This door leads to a secret room up a narrow staircase, known as the rest compartment, which is reserved for the cabin crew to get some well-deserved rest. These compartments are typically located in the overhead areas of the aircraft, with one at the back for flight attendants and one in the front for pilots. The beds in the rest compartments provided for flight attendants and pilots come with a pillow and duvet, along with a safety belt that must be fastened during their controlled rest. Flight attendants are given a designated amount of time to rest depending on the flight and are woken up by their colleagues through an interphone when it's time to resume their duties. Some luxurious airlines like Singapore Airlines provide private cabins for their crew members with silk pillowcases and other amenities. Pilots, on the other hand, usually have their private quarters at the front of the plane, featuring 2 spacious sleeping compartments, business class seats, a closet, and a lavatory. It's crucial for the crew, especially the pilots, to be well rested to ensure safe flying, as evidenced by some alarming statistics. The British Airline Pilot Association conducted a survey revealing that 84% of pilots felt their ability to fly was compromised due to tiredness, and 56% confessed to falling asleep while in charge of a plane. In May 2021, a pilot even fell asleep for 40 minutes, highlighting the significance of proper rest for airline personnel. During a commercial flight from Cairns to Radcliffe in Australia, a pilot accidentally overshot destination by 70 miles before waking up mid-air. Fortunately, most commercial airplanes have autopilot system that can maintain the aircraft's altitude, so pilots don't need to be in full control of the plane throughout the entire flight. However, it is still incredibly dangerous for pilots to fall asleep as they need to be alert in case of emergencies. And this is something that would definitely make me anxious on my next flight. Although it is a rare occurrence, death can happen during a flight, and cabin crew must be prepared for this unfortunate event. If a passenger passes away during a flight, the crew will usually have to wait until the plane reaches its final destination before removing the body. Some airline may offer the deceased passenger an upgrade to the quieter first-class cabin as a final gesture. In cases where there's no available space to move the deceased passenger, the cabin crew will ensure that the body is buckled in and covered with a blanket for the safety of other passengers. However,